All right. Hello, everybody. Let me get started on track tick also. One, two, three. All right. All right. Hello, everyone. This is my first time going live on this channel. So, welcome, one and all. I want to talk about a couple things that have been going on in the news. Uh, what Trump been doing and what we've been seeing. All right. So, don't know you've been following or not, but Trump been getting some wins. I know we got the Epstein files. We all, well, I can't say we all want them, but I want them. But besides that, I got to admit, thank God he's winning. Borders secure, different things going on. I'm just reading this track tick here. Different things going on, and we're going to cover some victories. 13 to be a fact. 13 victories for limited government. Supreme Court bolsters Trump's fight against big government. If you're not a small government type person, this might hurt your feelings. But the Supreme Court latest term, it was ended on June 27th, marked a seismic shift in the battle against the administrative state. I work with some people that they think they know the administrative state, they think they love it, but they got their feelings hurt. When Trump said you're going to get tired of winning, I was like, oh, he's just running off at the mouth. You know, he's doing his thing. But lo and behold, the dude is winning on every front. God, thank God, too. Like I say, we don't pressure him. He can call us all kind of names, get mad at us if we want to. We want those Epstein files. But other than that, let's look at here what we've been doing, what he's been doing, and how he's been doing it. All right. Trying to get both of these in there at the same time. The court delivered 13 rulings that clipped the wings of federal agencies. So Trump been trying to fire people. They've been taken in the court. You got district judges at the lower end of the spectrum have stepped up and across the board said no. He's executive of the executive branch, but they wasn't letting him run his departments. Makes no sense. So they wanted him to make a constitutional crisis by jumping the gun. Oh, he's stupid. He's uncontrolled. He's going to do this. We going to get to impeach him, or we going to win by popular man. He said, hold up. No, we'll take it to court. So the court delivered 13 rulings, clipping the wings of federal agencies, empowering constitutional checks and balances. Here's how Trump's vision for small government is winning. One gavel at a time. He's beating them down. He's giving them knuckle sandwiches. All right. Supreme Court. Federal agencies have long wielded oversized power, issuing rules like laws without oversight. The law comes from Congress. They make their own rules, how they're going to handle the rules, how they don't administer the law. You know, you got. Don't get me wrong. You got procedure, and you got things that you need to take care of. Can't think of the word right now, but you got policies and procedures. Excuse me. All right, I have no problem with that. But the way they've been doing it, they've been FBI under Hoover, doing what they want to do with no checks and balances. Congress is scared. The presidents, they all were scared. The media was doing their thing. They all were in cahoots. Well, the big bull came to Washington, D.C., and is tearing up the town. Not talking about yet his victories over ABC, NBC, CBS, killing them. I'm glad. NPR cut their throats. They're bleeding out. All right. PBS, he's winning time and time again. And we need that. We had 4 years of the Antichrist work. What you're going to see the Antichrist do was a small amount what you saw in the last 4 years. They tell you when to go home. They tell you can't come out. They hamstrung you every inch of the way. Let the borders open and pay people once they got here our hard-earned tax money. All right. This term, the Supreme Court aligned with Trump's agenda and made it clear. Unelected bureaucrats can't run the show anymore. Right? He's kicking them down the curb. He's kicking them down the street, kicking them out of office, fired them by the thousands. It's like, whoa, what you doing there, Trump? But hey, he's doing his thing. All right, Trump versus Casca Incorporated. The ruling was a 6-3 ruling. The lower courts, it says the lower courts can no longer issue blanket injunctions. Now, Trump was talking about impeach. Different ones were talking about impeach, but they held the ground. They took it up. Supreme Court got the message. Like, hey, we got to put this in order before they put us in order, before things get out of order. So I appreciate that. They stepped up. Supreme Court stepped up and made their moves that they needed to make in the first place. Like orders now apply only to actual plaintiffs. That's another thing. They trying to make a class action suit without a class action. But Trump kicked them in the teeth. Plaintiffs, reinforcing the president's authority. So one district judge cannot reach across, the Mississippi and go all the way to California. He's going to have to stop at this jurisdiction. If you want to bring a class action suit, you got to do it the right way. All right. Another one was with EPA. It was a 7-2 decision. National EPA cases now go through the DC circuit, stopping the companies from shopping for friendly courts. Judge shopping. That's what they was doing. They was judge shopping. They was going around looking for someone who's friendly with their case, whether the 9th, the 6th, or whatever circuit they're looking around. They're jumping around. It happens in Louisiana, they go to New York, that sort of thing. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission versus Texas, 6-3. All right, says only those involved in the original licensing hearings can challenge the license later, reducing these lawsuits and stabilizing agency's decision. All right. Again, they were judge hopping. They getting in the cases they had no business. If you got to come from the start to the end. Don't just jump in there later and try to do something to throw off the system. Right? It got a purpose. It's got a cause. Agencies reined in. All right. Congress, not the bureaucrats, make the law. All right. So they was telling Trump, you can't fire this volunteer. What? They was telling Trump, you can't fire this person. You can't do this with your agent. You cannot lower the number of personnel. That is administrative authority. The courts was out of hand, and they're getting the teeth kicked out. The Supreme Court also reminded agencies like the EPA, ATF, and FCC that they can't stretch vague laws to suit their goals. Notable cases include Diamond Alternative Energy versus EPA. There's a 7-2 ruling. Fuel producers can challenge California's pollution rules, opening the door to more lawsuits against regulatory steps. We all want clean air. We all want clean energy. but California has lost their bloody mind. They're not even, it's not even common sense anymore. So now you get to challenge it and see what the federal government can do for you against California. California, yeah, I mean, they got to turn around. If they don't turn around, we all in trouble. All right, City and County of San Francisco versus EPA are 5-4. The EPA overreached under the Clean Water Act. The court demanded agencies stick to the clear statutory limits. That's not asking too much, as far as I'm concerned. All right, FCC versus Consumer Research, 63 verdict ruling. A narrow win for the FCC, Universal Service Fund, but the court's restraint shows agencies aren't untouchable. So they got away. They sneaked through this one, but it put them on notice. We're watching you. Not all rules are bad, but these agencies become their own fiefdom. These agencies become their own kingdoms, and no one can touch them. So now Trump came in, he's hitting them from the inside, and other peoples are coming at him from the outside to shrink this big, massive government that only help the so-called oligarchy of the left, who have the more billionaires in their club. So it is a challenge, and right now Trump is winning. Restoring the chain of command. The court clarified who holds the reins in government appointments, aligning with Trump's emphasis on executive control. It is the presidency. Okay? The presidency. These agencies are not solely independent that no one can touch them. The president decides. If Congress want to do something, they need to put it in the law. But it's only 3 agencies. There's only 3 wings of the government: the president, the House, and the Senate, along with the judiciary. All right, so you're going to have those 3 forms of power. But what they was doing, creating their own. They was creating law and then executing the law and ruling on the laws that they made. They didn't go nowhere. All right, Kennedy versus Braidwoods is a 63 ruling. The U.S. Preventative Services Task Force is constitutional as its members fall under proper executive oversight, reinforcing the president's authority over unelected officials. The bureaucracy has to stop. This is insane. The message: Congress writes laws, the president executes them, the courts interprets them, not agencies playing all 3 roles. All right, states join the fight. States are following Trump's lead, pushing back against bureaucratic excess. In North Carolina, House Bill 402, a Reins-style law would require legislative approval for agency rules costing $20 million and more over 5 years. Governor John Stein vetoed it in June 27, claiming it would hinder environmental protections, but supporters like Donald Bryson of the John Locke Foundation argue it stops unelected officials from imposing costly rules without accountability. With strong GOP support, lawmakers are close to overriding the veto, potentially setting a model for other states by 2026. So they haven't given up. They're going at this from all sides. You see Florida, you see different ones that are coming up with Doge enactments. They're coming up with Doge rules. Why? Because it works. And the majority of the American people want to be left alone, not regulated to death. All right. Rain momentum grows. Rain-style laws are spreading fast. Kentucky, Utah, Oklahoma, Louisiana passed version in 2025, and that's Ballotpedia predicts nearly a quarter of states will adopt them by next year. It's moving. This surge reflects public frustration with unaccountable bureaucrats, a frustration Trump has long championed. Washington, D.C. is not your friend overall. You need local, county, state officials that you can get in their face and say, hey, what we're going on here, talk to me while we're doing this, instead of some high, mighty official, socialist, communist sitting there in Washington where you can't get to them, never was elected, doing what they want to do. So it's awesome. Trump's legislative arsenal, CRA, and the one big beautiful bill. I do not like the one big beautiful bill. However, I understand the necessity for it right now. What I prefer, and certain members of Congress, you want 12 bills. I understand they shoved it down the throat, but you want 12 small bills so we can read them along with Congress. We have to have oversight over Congress, or we will continue to have problems with our deficit, with what laws they create. Hopefully next year and the next 3.5 years, we don't have these big, beautiful bills coming around. Things got taken out, things got removed, things got shuffled around, but it got through. So I understand he needs to get this done before the midterm. And I hope he turns things around with his Epstein file before midterm. We don't need to be fighting among ourselves. What's up with Epstein file? Come clean. Come now. We'll see what's going to happen. But it's going to have to move on that. It's just staying there is not staying in the way it is right now is not going to make it. I mean, it's he doesn't need to hurt his base. He doesn't need to do those sort of things. Call me stupid all you want to. It's childish. I get it, but he's doing what I want. Look, the mask, the from 2020 all the way to 2024, all the lies that Biden was sharp as attack. We saw that. We saw through that. So one little loss right here. I'm not a one issue person. One little loss right here ain't gonna hurt me that bad. What I'm saying is we ain't letting up. We want the Epstein's files. We're gonna cause commotion. However, let's not lose in the midterms on one issue. Let's move past this. All right. Since August 2024, Congress had introduced 80 Congressional Review Acts resolutions to repeal Biden-era rules, with 16 signed into law by Trump. His second term kicked off with H.R. 1, the one big, beautiful bill at Trump and his euphemisms. I'll just tell you what. A sweeping omnibus targeting administrative bloat. Trump's team is also exploring pocket recessions to freeze Congress-approved spending without vetoes. A bold move to shrink government further. Okay, pocket recession. Okay, to freeze. I'll have to look into that one. All right. A constitutional comeback. This isn't chaos, it's clarity. The Supreme Court, bolstered by Trump's judicial appointments, is restoring constitutional order. They want you to believe that he is a king, that he's out of control, when they are only projecting what they say this man did, they were doing. When they say he's out of control, they were. The border was out of control. Things were falling apart, and they were lying through their teeth. So remember that come midterms. We got to hold the line. We got to move forward. We got to get things done. This man had to stand up and say there's only two genders. Why? Because people were losing their ever-loving minds. Common sense. Think about this. They say there's 100, 200 genders. But yet, if there's more than one gender, why do you, when you want to change your gender, cut off the current gender attachments that you have? Why are you destroying, mutilating your body to go into the other body that you think you was born with? It's mental, not physical. And these so-called psychiatrists and doctors that are performing these surgeries are guilty at sin, at allowing this mental illness to grow beyond, proportions. It's ridiculous. So enough on that. All right, the Supreme Court is giving Trump the wins that he needs. All right, because they see he's crazy enough. He might just, at least the opposition thinks, oh my goodness, if he don't get his way, he might just not obey a court order. But he played the game good. He played it wise. Same thing with the tariffs. They thought it was going to ruin everything. Inflation. We are in a surplus right now. So we got to give the man credit. They don't want to give him credit. They hate him. Trump derangement syndrome is live and well. So I wanted to go over those couple wins, 13 wins on the check and balance that is coming to American government. The administrative state is in the emergency room. They got the paddles. Don't get me wrong. He cannot do and will not do totally away with the administrative state. We need administrators. But the problem is that they was ruling, and I have talked to some in my studies. They always, no matter what the president said, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. That is what they've been saying. They are part of the deep state. They were proud of it. And now they've been put in checks and balance. But even though they understand we just got to wait 4 years to get rid of him, that's the mindset. So keep that in mind. The next one and the one after that, the next person after Trump and the person after that could set something going on. If we jump back and forth to the, some crazy liberal Democrat, we in trouble. It's on us. You get what you elect. So just wanted to stop by and give you a little briefing on that 13-part win, and doing good so far, and hopefully we can do better. Talk to you later. All right, TikTok, let's go.